Gemini season officially begins, and we get Saturn moving into a new sign. It moves into Aries, which is like moving from the fog into the fire. We're going to feel a huge shift, and things are going to move a lot faster. Welcome back to the Hello Fluid Collective podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I love connecting astrology with small business. Here, you get your weekly forecast and your month ahead forecast with all of the transits happening and a little tidbit about how you can tap into them, whether you're a business owner, a creative, or just somebody who wants to know about the astrology that's happening in the sky. Today, we are talking about the astrology for the week of May 19th through May 25th. And there's a lot going on, but it's nothing too intense, nothing too wild. But there are some big shifts happening. So I expect that by the end of this week, things are going to feel different. Before we jump in, just a quick reminder to please sign up for my email newsletter. That's where you can get the month ahead horoscope delivered straight to your inbox. And you'll get it in blog form, podcast form, and this YouTube video as well too, which is pretty great. And you can be the first to hear about any new offerings that I might be coming out. All right, let's go ahead and jump in because there's a lot to talk about. The first day that we have an exact transit is on Tuesday, May 20th, and the first one is the Sun forming a sextile to Saturn. This is a harmonious transit that brings our life force, our sense of purpose, and connects it with our relationship to discipline and responsibility. It is a great day for getting hard things done, especially those kinds of things that we don't really want to spend time doing, but we know we have to. That's all about Saturn, and the Sun gives us the energy to get it done. It really can connect us with our sense of responsibility. So taking ownership for the things that we need to do and not having them feel so much as a burden, but having a deeper connection to why we need to do them. It really helps with creating intrinsic motivation to get these things done. As for business owners, I would utilize this energy to get some practical progress done on some projects. So if there's things that you really want to get done, but there's parts of it that are annoying, like maybe you're launching a new product or a new book, this would be the day to really focus on hunkering down and bringing some structure to the way that you're going about the project. Then later on that day, we have the Sun moving into the sign of Gemini, where it will be for 1 month all the way until June 20th, I believe. This is a month that tends to be a little bit more fast paced. And with Gemini season, Gemini is all about the mind. It's all about the way we're communicating and socializing. It loves to multitask, to move from thing to thing very quickly. It's very rapid. And for some people, that might sound really overwhelming, but at the same time, it really energizes Gemini energy to kind of move along quickly and just dabble in a little bit here, dabble in a little bit there, and see what comes up. And when we have the Sun in that sign as well, that connects our sense of identity and purpose with that as well. So with this month, I like to allow myself to follow my curiosity because I might just end up learning a lot of new things about myself and finding out that I have new interests or things out that I'm good at that I didn't realize I was good at before because I never really took the time to figure it out for a little bit. This is a great month to do that. It also may have us feeling more social or like we want to chat more. So say yes to the plans, schedule an event, plan an event, host an event. Everyone's feeling a bit more chatty, fun, lighthearted, and witty as well. As for business owners, this is a great time to get more involved with networking. Whether you already have a routine for networking or if you don't, maybe start finding events. This is just going to be a great time to learn from other people and their experiences and apply that to your business. The next day that we have exact transits is Thursday, May 22nd, and the first one is Venus forming a trine to Mars. This is the day when the energy is feeling really balanced and it brings a lot of passion into our creative projects. So it's a great day to get lost in creating something that you're really passionate about. It also brings a very charming and charismatic energy into what we're doing or who we're talking to. Venus also rules our aesthetic, and Mars brings in some courage and some initiative. So if you've been wanting to try something new with the way that you look or your aesthetic, this day could give you the confidence to do so. So try something new, see how it feels, and I don't know, you might just end up liking it. Maybe you put on a different outfit, you try something different, something along those lines. As for business owners, this is a really good energy to take initiative or take action towards things that align with your values. Venus is all about your values, and Mars loves to get things started. So if there's anything you've been holding back on that you really want to do, but maybe haven't had the time or space to, you may on this day, or if you create space for this on this day, then things could go really well. So, for example, if you've really wanted to be doing a local or community event, this could give you the energy to get it started, talk to the right people, find who you need to connect with in order to make it happen. Later on that day, we have the Sun forming a sextile to Neptune. And yes, that is because Saturn and Neptune are very close to each other. They're not exactly conjunct, but for the next year or so, they're going to be very close to one another. So, since they're outer planets, they kind of stay conjunct for a while. So, again, not exactly conjunct, but I consider transits to be anything within 3 degrees is active. And so this is going to be active for some time. So the sun forming a sextile to Neptune really heightens our intuition and our creativity. It could also heighten our sensitivities, like, the way we're feeling, or also like senses as well, the things that we're hearing. Maybe sounds get a little louder, but it's really doing that so that we can be more connected to spirit as well. So if you get intuitive messages or, guidance from your spirit guides, God, whatever it may be, those can be stronger on this day. I will admit that you may feel a little tired with this transit, not necessarily like a draining and exhausted kind of way, but if you do feel tired, it's more so of an invite to slow down, rest, relax, maybe do something creative, do something a bit more go with the flow rather than doing hard work. This is also an energy that allows us to be more compassionate with ourselves and then also with others. So you may find that you're giving yourself more grace, which is lovely. That's sometimes what's needed in order to take a rest. Or maybe you can journal a little bit about this issue that you've been really hard on yourself for a while, and you might find a little bit of a breakthrough as a way that you can be kinder to yourself about this issue or concern. As for business owners, I would suggest that you utilize this energy to tap into your biggest dreams. It's really easy to get stuck in the reality of what we're doing right here, what's possible with what we have right here, which is good sometimes. And also, it's good to make time and space for dreaming about what we really want and not worrying about how we're going to get there. Because the first step to even getting there is imagining that it's possible. So if you want to get out a whiteboard and just throw things up there, again, we're not being logical, we're not planning it, we're just dreaming and allowing it to exist. And then once it's up there, slowly but surely, the ways in which we can get there may start to show up. It's not a figuring it out kind of energy, it's a bringing it in kind of energy. Moving on, the next day that we have an exact transit is Saturday, May 24th. And the first one is the sun forming a trine to Pluto. This is a wonderful energy for tapping into self empowerment. Pluto is all about power dynamics, and the sun is all about the self and your identity. And so it's really using these things together to figure out how you can feel more empowered. So whether that's understanding something that's hidden deep in your subconscious, which is Pluto, that's impacting the way that you show up in your most authentic way, this would be an energy to kind of figure that out a little bit. Again, with trines, it's not going to be a slap in your face problem. So it's easy to just kind of kick back and do nothing, which by all means, if you're exhausted, that's totally fine. But if you want to go the extra mile and utilize this energy, then it is something where we kind of have to put in the effort in order to reap the benefits of this transit. So maybe now that you're hearing this, you go out there to really figure out what's stopping you from being your authentic self. Or maybe you find someone or a podcast or a show or a book or something that inspires you to then make some changes. That's kind of the energy that this is about. It's all here to help you understand yourself on a deeper level so that you can show up more authentically. As for business owners, the sun can also represent leadership as well. This can be used to be a leader in helping other people transform the way they think about themselves. So, whether that's you showing up authentically, whether it's you helping them connect to who they are through your services or your products, your experiences, whatever it may be an example or be a helper that allows other people to show up for themselves as well. Later on that day, we have Mercury forming a conjunction with Uranus. And this is an energy that is all about bringing in disruptive thoughts and communications. So, what this could mean is that our mind is going a little haywire. Maybe it's really activated. Our nervous system and our mind are really in sync. Our nervous system and our mind are really activating each other. So it could be somewhat overwhelming. We could be having racing thoughts. Either way, it's going to put your mental state in kind of a new, different place than it usually is, for the better or for worse. Whichever direction it goes in, it does kind of break the normal routine and then allows you to potentially see things from different perspectives. It can also bring a lot of unexpected things that come up in conversations. So maybe you say something you weren't expecting to say, or somebody says something that you weren't ready to hear, or you weren't expecting them to say. It's very easy for things to slip up. So I don't know, if you don't want that to happen, then maybe just take a pause, take a breath, make sure you're really grounded before we start blurting things out that we might not want to say. They do meet up in the sign of Taurus, which adds a flavor of money, material goods, stability, luxury, comfort into the unexpectedness as well too. Maybe out of nowhere you have a conversation with somebody about your money problems or their money problems or your money mindsets or what makes you comfortable. Or you have a really sensual conversation with somebody that could be likely as well too. I do want to say watch out for surprises in short travel. So if you're commuting on this day or you're going on a short trip or anything like that, just be extra alert because it can be a little bit chaotic out on the road or wherever it is you might be traveling, like during the actual travel itself. As for business owners, I would suggest trying something completely new and kind of out of the box with your marketing. Mercury rules marketing, Uranus is all about different things and trying on new things, being innovative. And this is an energy where things can, take off by doing something very differently. And maybe it doesn't take off, but it gives you another step in figuring out what does or doesn't work. Either way, it gets you out of the normal mindset to try something new. Later on that day, yes, we're still on Saturday, we have Saturn moving into the sign of Aries. Yes, another outer planet making a move this year. There has been a lot, and there is still one more coming up in June. So Saturn takes about 2.5 years to move into a new sign. So it's not too big of a deal, but the fact that it's happening with all these other shifts, it really just adds to the chaos of this year. So Saturn has been in Pisces for the last 2.5 years, and Saturn doesn't like being in Pisces. Pisces is all about blurred lines. It's all about living in different realities that we can't see. And Saturn is very right here, right now, dealing with the reality that we're in, the tangible things that we can see, feel, and understand. So it's been a little bit uncomfy in Pisces. So for it to move into the sign of Aries, I think it will be able to do its job a little bit better. Now, wherever Saturn goes, it brings structure and stability to it. So when it was in Pisces, it brought some structure to the more invisible things, for example, like mental health, invisible diseases like chronic illness. It brought the language to those things, and now we talk about them regularly and we have programs and support for those things. That was obviously building well before 2.5 years ago, but I feel like it's really become stabilized in the past few years. With Saturn moving into Aries, Aries is all about personal power. So I feel like it's taking the things we learned about mental health and spirituality from Pisces and then using it to step into our personal power and bringing more stability and getting more disciplined with how we are taking responsibility for our personal power. Saturn also brings with it accountability. It demands accountability wherever it goes. And Aries rules leadership. So I would love for us to see more accountability in our leadership, especially here in the United States. Maybe it's wishful thinking, I don't know, but there is going to be more responsibility in our leadership, for better or for worse. Saturn is all about consequences and Aries is all about action. So it's going to be a 2.5 years where we are really seeing consequences for the actions that we're taking. Saturn also rules hardships. And with it being in Pisces, Pisces likes to escape. And so our approach to hardships and dealing with hardships, it was probably likely that we've been running away from them. When it moves into Aries, Aries is very direct and also gives some courage. So the advice I have for you is to meet your hardships head on. They will move about a lot faster. It also brings us a period of making sure that the actions and our motivations are actually in line with our long-term goals. Aries also brings this sort of pioneering, new beginning kind of energy. And so it's about new beginnings in terms of our connection to responsibility and discipline, and also brings a sense of sustainability to the things that we're starting again, to this new cycle. And it takes about 29-ish, 30 years for Saturn to go all the way around. So this is a new 30-year cycle for us as a collective. 30-year cycle as it relates to things Saturnian: discipline, responsibility, structure, hardships, learning lessons the hard way, and all of that big daddy energy. I will also say I feel like this brings a lot of self-reliance energy, and I think it's more of like a breakaway from bigger institutions, governments, things like that, and more so the people taking a step towards taking care of ourselves just a little bit more. It's very big, no one's coming to save us, so we need to take care of ourselves energy. Which the outcome, us taking more responsibility for ourselves sounds cool, but it might be a little bit scary and big things happen in order for us to take those necessary steps. Aries also rules the military, the police force, and defense. So that could mean bringing more accountability into that, or it could mean bringing more structure into that. It can go quite a few ways, but it does bring more highlight into that. We have a lot of planets in Aries as well, so I feel like that area, defense and military, has a lot of highlight. It is a more stabilizing energy, unlike, Uranus or Pluto, so depends on what stabilization means for you in terms of the military. As for business owners, Aries does rule entrepreneurship. And with Saturn in that area, I do think there will be more structure, more support, more responsibility for small business owners and entrepreneurs. So if you wanted to make some big leaps or some big changes in your business the next few years, you will have the support to do so. Or if you or someone you know wants to start a business, this is fabulous energy to do so. The last transit that's happening this week happens on Sunday, May 25th, and that is Mercury moving into the sign of Gemini. Mercury loves to be here. Mercury loves Gemini, so it's going to be really comfortable here, which means our mind and our communication are going to be well-oiled and working with ease. It's going to give us a mental boost, if you will. Now, I will say, I kind of mentioned this before, once the sun is in Gemini, it's more fast-paced, and once Mercury is in Gemini, it really makes our thoughts and the way we're communicating a lot more fast-paced and a lot more, and changing a bit more rapidly. So again, that could feel uncomfortable to some people, but generally it's more energizing than other times because Gemini loves to be like that. Our curiosity is going to be really piqued, as I mentioned before. Before, it was more about how it relates. Before, when I mentioned the sun moving into Gemini, that's more about how we identify and relate to these things. And now our mind and the way we're communicating is going to come into that as well. It's a great time for having witty conversations, or, just having a gab with your friends, with people you love, with new people, socializing, meeting new people, getting out there, trying new things. Gemini also rules duality, which means understanding that there's multiple sides to things and not everything is white or black, right? It means that two opposing things can be true at the same time. You can really love going to a festival, but then while you're there, you can be really annoyed at all the people. They can both be true. It's not because people are annoying that therefore you have to hate the whole thing. Like, get what I'm saying? There's more nuance to just yes or no, good or bad. And that's what Gemini is here to teach us. It's the twins, right? We can see the multiple sides of things. So with Mercury moving into that, that's the way we process things. So it allows us to process and understand that there's a lot more complexity to things than we may have perceived before. As for business owners, I would use this energy to create educational content. Whether you are launching a little series on Instagram or TikTok or something like that, or you launch a couple YouTube videos, or you make a worksheet, whatever it is, people are really into learning stuff right now. And if you give them something to learn, they're going to be really interested. So spend a little time creating something. Maybe it's a lead magnet, whatever it may be. Give out some free educational content and it will come back to you in a very nice way. Okay, my beautiful people, that's it for this week. So there's, a lot going on, but it's all pretty supportive. The Mercury conjunct Uranus may bring a little bit of chaos and a little bit of destabilization, but we got to have a little something that shakes things up so that we actually are motivated to make the change and utilize the rest of this wonderful energy that's coming this week. The Saturn moving into Aries is definitely going to give a big shift, along with moving into Gemini, going from slower energy to a lot more fast-paced energy. We had things in Taurus, which is slow and grounded, going into Gemini, which is fast-paced and airy. And then we have moving from Pisces, from flow, into Aries, which is fire. So I think it'll be an interesting week. Interested to see where this goes, both on an individual level and a collective level. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next time. And until then, stay hella fluid, y'all.